Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial rock festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is a place for news and rumours about your favourite rock festivals, our music guide for the month, and some special things that we've found in Festpod Favourites. So let's welcome my fellow hosts. We have, somewhere near Bicester, we've got Lee Ellingham. How you doing, Lee?
Good evening. I'm all right, thank you. I've actually been quite busy on the old Festpod related stuff. Obviously, not only did we do live for the first time ever, I managed to gain some new subscribers from work. Some of the
oh really?
Yeah, some of the lads at work are all metalheads. They're all deciding whether or not they're going to download next year, and a couple of them have subscribed to the podcast on YouTube.
Really? I didn't know you worked with metalheads. I thought they were the younger sort of dance music type people.
A few of them are. Actually,
but not them.
One of the youngest lads is actually a metalhead, which is always good to hear.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. Well, that's good. Yes, we did our very first Instagram live for the announcement from Download. We did a little reaction video, which was very last minute, so I'm not surprised if you missed it, but thanks for joining us if you did. Also, we have, in the Midlands, we have Eamon Short. How you doing, Eamon?
Hey up.
Hey up.
Hey up, duck, as they say around Stoke.
They do, don't they? What do they have?
do.
They have little oat cakes, don't they, around there?
Yeah, I wouldn't call them little, they get offended, but yeah, I've got oat cakes, fill them with cheese and all your bacon goodness. We're very particular about them, but yeah.
Right, okay.
Unlike Lee, I've not been busy with Festpod stuff at all. I've been slacking, really, but it's been a busy few weeks. When I see Parkway Drive and While She Sleeps, that's who played, and Lorna Shore, which was just phenomenal. Yeah, and
where did you see
that's
them?
been about the highlight. I went to Nottingham Arena for it. It was another level. It was just such a good bill. 3 quite different bands, but Lorna Shore just ripping everyone's face off to start was just impressive. And I love watching Lorna Shore in that environment. Just for people that don't know them, they just stand there confused whilst Will comes out on stage and just makes pig squeals over death metal. It's great.
That's a show. I'd pay to see that.
It's an experience, is what it is.
Unfortunately, we haven't got Rich Holmes with us this time around. He's not feeling very well, so I'll send you best wishes to Rich Holmes. Hope you feel better. So get in touch with us on the socials or on YouTube by looking for Festpod. If you like the show and you're a regular listener, we are also now on Patreon. So we'd love your support, and it does all go back into the show. And a massive thanks to our new Patreons who've joined up so far. Thank you very much. If you're interested in supporting us, it is all set up in tiers. So you don't you don't just pay a set amount or whatever. It's this amount or this amount or this amount, with different benefits for you. For those who are watching us on screen, I have the ability to show you what the Patreon looks like. So there's the Festpod Patreon, which is patreon.com/Festpod. And you've got different membership levels that you can select. You've got £5 per month, plus VAT, for a local pub gig, £10 per month for an academy gig, £20 a month for an arena gig, and there is another one, £35 a month for festival headliner, which is, so you've got options. If you want to support us, we'd be very grateful, whichever you choose, and you do get some nice little benefits. So have a look at that, patreon.com/Festpod. So, that's the other thing I want to mention, is the fact that you can also buy merch. We have a merch store on Etsy, and we have beautiful patches. They're only £5. And you know what you can do with them? I thought of this as a nice little thing to do. You can make your own Festpod hat. You get your favourite hat, just sew it on like that, you see. Then you've got a Festpod hat. You can sew it onto anything. Are you impressed, Lee?
I could stick it on top of my hat here, couldn't I? Ignore the back. Ignore the Ramstein at the back. Just at Festpod here.
Yeah. I was going to question, whose favourite hat is just a plain hat?
Well, I quite like this hat, to be honest. I wear this most days in the cold.
Well,
It's black, and it's very flattering. But if you wanted to, get a £5 Festpod patch and stick that to it, then you've got a Festpod hat. Just an idea. You can also get Festpod mugs, Festpod coffee mugs, to tell your friends how much you love Festpod. And that's on Etsy. If you go onto Etsy and search for Festpod, you'll find our store. Just a couple of items to begin with. But there are more on the way, and I promise you that. So let's get started with festival news. Now, there's quite a large rock metal festival that we like going to that's made just a teeny announcement. Download Festival, of course. We love it so much. They made this announcement after the announcement had already leaked. We already kind of knew exactly what was going to be announced, didn't we? Because we'd seen it on the socials, and everybody knew this, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it's it got leaked, or the draft got leaked at least, I believe, on the forums, and then made its way through all the social media sites. But yeah, about 8:45, I think it was, Alexis on Fire accidentally posted the lineup before Download could. So 15 minutes before the actual announcement, 9:00, we all knew exactly who was going to be playing. And it was exactly what the leak draft was, which is quite surprising as well.
Yeah, there was a draft poster, wasn't there, that was doing the rounds. And it's all, if you look, it's all in alphabetical order. So I was thinking it can't be the real thing, because who puts a lineup poster in completely alphabetical order?
Download, apparently.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I did enjoy the fact that the only reason people questioned the integrity of the draft was the fact that Blackout were reunited on there. Like, this tiny Welsh band, and everyone knows doesn't exist, but they've reunited. It's brilliant. That was the main reason people questioned it.
I've actually seen them before. It just came to me today. I saw them in a small pub in East London somewhere. A friend of mine got me a free ticket, and I'd seen them, and it was actually a pretty good little gig.
Oh, right. So are you going to see them at Download?
If they're playing the Saturday, I will. As long as they're not clashing with Envisions, who should be announced.
Well, Envisions will be headlining main stage, obviously, instead of the second Metallica night, so it'll be fine.
Obviously. I don't know why you're saying that so sarcastically.
So now we come to Envisions.
Yes, this is the Envisions portion of the pod. It happens.
I can't believe you got Envisions out this early.
I know, it's
probably not going to be the first time either. Because the young lad that actually subscribed to the YouTube channel is actually now a fan of Envisions because of me. So,
Yeah, you're spreading the Envisions news, aren't you? Spreading the good news of Envisions. Everybody ought to be a fan.
Absolutely.
I hope they appreciate it.
I don't mind if they don't. I'll love them regardless.
And you're hoping for them to come to Download, but they haven't been announced just yet, have they?
I'd love them to be fair, to be more at Slam Dunk than Download.
Why is that?
Well, we're going to Slam Dunk, 100% going to Slam Dunk. Download, the Saturday is probably the only day I'll do, unless Envisions play on one of the other days. Then I might have to sack off Metallica for Envisions.
That's true love.
Are you a massive Metallica fan?
I don't mind them. I was very much, when I discovered who they were, and this is probably quite embarrassing actually, they'd released St. Anger, which obviously public opinion is that's one of their worst. But obviously the Black Album was one of my favourites. And yeah, I think they're one of the bands. They're one of the old bands that I would say I want to see just because it's Metallica. I'm not the same with the likes of like AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or anything like that. So yeah, not a huge fan, but not exactly someone I'm not going to turn down the chance.
What about you, Eamon?
I mean, you're talking to a guy who's seen Metallica live 10, 15 times. Like,
Wow.
I am obsessed. Like, Metallica and AC/DC are my two favorite bands. So, I'm very happy to get 2 nights of Metallica, like just back to back, pretty much. I've done that before voluntarily, so I'm very, very happy. It'll be interesting to see what sets they pull out because they've got such a back catalogue that you could easily have 2 greatest hit sets, and everyone will know 90% of the songs in both of them. Like, it's very easy for them to fill 2 sets nowadays. So I'm hoping we get a lot of deep cuts.
That's what they're planning to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 unique sets with no song repeat. So technically, yeah, we're going to get 2 greatest hit sets.
Yeah, so they're planning on the 2 unique sets, which there was rumours they were going to do potentially a Kill 'Em All anniversary set, because that's going to be 30 years, 40 years. I don't know, it's old. It's older than me, which I'd love. But even just getting some deep cuts from Kill 'Em All would be fantastic. So we'll see what they pull out of the bag. But I mean, for me, it's great. I imagine if you're not a Metallica fan, it's probably not the best. But yeah, I'm very excited.
So what are they doing? They're doing the Thursday and Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Correct.
Thursday and the Saturday, the new day on the Thursday, which we still don't know if Thursday's a full day of all 4 stages or if it's a part day, just the main stage. We don't really know what's going on that Thursday yet, so that's a whole other curveball to throw into this year.
I imagine we'll get some sort of day splits in maybe the next announcement after the new year. But who knows? This is I mean, to be fair, I think this lineup's a bit of a curveball because it's so bloody good. Like, who knows what to expect?
Have we ever seen 4 days of music at Download before?
No.
No.
Not 4 days of main arena. It's been thought about in the past, and there's been, discussions with Andy Copping saying he was close to booking the Rolling Stones for doing the Thursday, and he's been open to doing it for the right bands. And obviously Metallica's become available, so why not?
And then on the Friday, we've got Bring Me the Horizon. How do you feel about that? You happy?
Extremely.
Yeah, I am
happy
too.
with that one as well.
Yeah.
I am.
Again, it's good to see a newer, younger band who we've never had headline Download before actually headlining. We've all said once in the last few years, why do we never get any new headliners? There you go.
What I like about Bring Me the Horizon, I've discovered in listening to their stuff fairly recently, is that they're not afraid of a collaboration. They'd like to try it out with other people. And I really like their stuff. Really like their music. So I'm really pleased to be in the crowd on the. I need to look at the actual poster to know when everybody's on. It'll be the Friday, won't it? Is it
Yeah, the headline the
Thursday
Friday.
or Friday?
Friday.
Okay.
I mean, their set's going to be interesting, right? Because they have obviously all their newer albums. The last 2-3 albums are what's got them to status to the point where they can headline. But obviously, Download fans like the heavier stuff. They liked Bring Me the Horizon back when they were small with Count Your Blessings and all that kind of stuff. So there's an argument for them to pull out some older, heavier hits, but there's also the argument that they wouldn't be headlining Download without the newer stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if they play to the crowd or if they just play to be them. And I personally wanted to be themselves and do a Bring Me the Horizon set nowadays because their live stuff now is phenomenal.
And then we've got Slipknot on the Sunday. And how do you feel about Slipknot coming back? I
mean, they'll be great, right? They're Slipknot. A bad Slipknot show is a great show. That's what I always said. But I've seen them a lot, and I've seen them a lot at Download. If you've never been to Download and seen Slipknot, then it's going to be phenomenal for you. I've got no real qualms with it. They have headlined fairly recently, and they are, Corey Taylor's kind of the house act there now. But yeah, I mean, it's a good way to end the Sunday. It's sing along metal anthems. Yeah, it's. I'm neither here nor there with that show. We'll see how I feel on the day, but there's no question it's a good booking.
I have tried to get into Slipknot several times, and I mean, even a couple of days ago, I was listening to them, and I like some of their tunes. I can't really get into them. I can't really say them for me. So it's not a big deal for me, but I know I know how huge they are. I know how popular they are, and I can see it being an absolute riot on that Sunday.
Yeah, one of the lads at work he's more interested in seeing Slipknot at Download because he's never seen Slipknot. So he'll be one of those people that has never been Download, never seen Slipknot, and will be front row for Slipknot. And I imagine he won't be the only person there. For me, yeah, like you said, Slipknot almost become like a house band, and I love Slipknot's old stuff. Not crazy on new stuff in the last few recent years, but yeah, like you say, a bad Slipknot show is still a great show. So yeah, if I was going for the full weekend, I'd still probably pop along to main stage to see them.
A lot of complaints, because there are always complaints about the lineup or announcements or anything like that, so we have to mention them at least. One in particular, in fact, there's a bingo card, isn't there, of all the different complaints that people might have about the lineup. One of those items is the fact that there are 3 headliners over 4 days rather than 4 headliners over 4 days. How do you feel about that?
I would tend to agree, because I think on one hand it's quite selfish that Metallica have managed to get 2 days. Granted, it's Metallica. They are huge, if not the biggest thrash metal band still going. But it was an opportunity to chuck up another younger band like Bring Me the Horizon into a headliner slot. Or even giving System of a Down the slot that they were supposed to get in 2020. Avenged Sevenfold have got another new album coming out next year, so it would have been good to have a 4th band, but at the same time, it's Metallica. Like I said, biggest thrash metal band on the planet, so if they say jump, we say how high.
You can't really get bigger, can you? That's the thing.
Yeah.
No, and I think the thing is, right, obviously this is the first 4-day download. Now, I fully believe this might come out from copying that it's not the case, but I don't think if Metallica wasn't playing, we wouldn't have 4 days. I very much believe Metallica wanted to do the 2 unique sets somewhere else. They do it in America here and there, and they know how popular it is and how much people want it over here. So I think it's because of Metallica we've got that 4th day, which means we're going to get more music. I would have liked to have seen, a Parkway Drive or a Ghost get that slot, but I'm a massive Metallica fan, as we know, so I'm well happy.
So what about the undercard? We've had a lot on the undercard. It's not just a matter of Download have only given us the headliners to think about. We've got a great big undercard there to think about. So who on there are you excited about?
For me, Placebo. You and I, Neil.
Oh, yes.
You and I,
Can't
Neil,
wait to see them.
are big fans. I've been listening to their stuff the last couple of days, to be honest, just to remind myself. And they still are one of my favourite bands. And I think it's about time that Placebo were actually on a Download lineup. They've been around for years as a heavy, not heavy, a British rock band that have never made it onto the lineup, even with all the back catalogue they've got. And I'm so glad they're on it.
It's weird, isn't it, that they never have been before?
Yeah, I can't get my head around it. I'm just glad they're there.
Yeah. Have you ever seen them before, like in a proper venue? Anyway?
Yep, I've seen them at Wembley, seen them at Ali Pali. I think I've seen them at Wembley twice. But yeah, no, I've seen them a few times already. think it was my first show with my dad, actually. He took me to see Placebo. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What a cool dad you've got.
Yeah.
Who else are we looking at there?
For me, I mean, the logo bands are just incredible, but further down the lineup, you've got Bloodywood, who this year at Bloodstock absolutely destroyed the stage, one of the biggest crowds of the festival weekend, and they're just insane. So the fact they've been booked at Download, I'm praying that they don't stick them in the fourth stage tent and they give them a slot outside on main or second, but they're going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree with you on that. I'm a big fan of Bloodywood. I find the mixture of music and culture just so it's amazing. I agree. Yeah, sticking them in that small tent, it's going to get packed out, and you're not going to be able to see them.
Yeah.
Put them on the second stage, even if it's a mid-afternoon, 30-minute, 40-minute slot. They'll bring in a massive crowd. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I saw someone post that we should expect another 70 to 80 bands over because we've got 4 days of music, and that would make sense with how much room there is left. So who else are you hoping to see on that lineup?
Well, I'm not going to mention them again. Sorry,
but we all know who you mean.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention them again. Just, but
there it is. Second Division's reference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else? I don't know.
Who do you think who are you expecting to see on that lineup? Because we've been speculating for I don't know how long about who might headline or who would potentially appear. Who do you think?
I mean, I'm expecting Alter Bridge and Hailstorm to rock up as well once they finish their tours. Is very much what I'm anticipating. Obviously, there was rumours of Pantera being around.
Yeah.
They're not on there, which is a surprise. I mean, I'm kind of glad. I don't want anything to do with them, but it is a shock not to see them on any UK lineup so far.
Hailstorm actually, or Lizzie Howe, might have accidentally slipped that they are playing Download. There was a tweet that went out. Someone mentioned Slipknot and a Hailstorm in the same breath on a tweet, including Download, and Lizzie Howe put yep. So could we take that as a self-confirm or be good again? Good to they drew in a big crowd last time they played. They headlined the second stage, didn't they? So I mean, yeah, getting them back. There'll be a lot of happy people.
Yeah, huge.
Do they get a massive bollocking? Like Corey Taylor pretty much told everyone that he was going to be at Download in 23. There's lots of video evidence of that, and he was shaking. He was nodding his head. I couldn't possibly say that I'm going to be at Download, etc. Do they get massive bollocking for that?
I mean, there's got to be something in their contract to keep it, NDA'd until a certain time, but you're not going to kick Corey Taylor off a bill when everyone figured Slipknot was playing anyway. Like if it was, let's pick a random band. If it was Taylor Acorn, I'm not sure who they are, but that leaked the entire lineup on Twitter, I imagine they'll get kicked off the bill. But when it's the likes of Slipknot and Hailstorm, I think there'll be a bit of a telling off, but you're not going to kick Corey off the Download bill. It's just not going to happen.
There's nothing you can do about it, really, is there? I mean, it's this close as well to the actual announcement, and it has been left quite late. And even the leaks that we've seen online of that draft poster, I wonder whether there was some frustration that the announcements haven't come sooner.
Oh, almost definitely. There has to be, doesn't there? Especially for bands, like Bring Me the Horizon and Architects who want to advertise their massive slots, because Architects being a logo band as well, it's a huge slot for them in the UK. So it's, I imagine there's frustration when bands want to promote it, but yeah, it's a difficult balance, I suppose. It must be really hard to organise. There's 60 bands on this lineup announcement, and not one of them, apart from Alexis on Fire, leaked it early. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, it's not bad, is it? And we also have a new artistic direction. If you've seen the lineup poster, it's navy and what are we calling this? Pink, light purple.
There's a bit of everything there.
I quite like this actually.
I quite like it, but for that undercard, very bottom undercard for non-logo bands, it is quite a struggle to read. It needs toning down a little, but yeah, I like it. I like the colour scheme. If there's merch to go alongside that, and if the stages are planted in it, I think it's going to look quite cool.
They did release a bit of merch. It's online only merch as part of this announcement, and it's tie-dye. There's a tie-dye hoodie and a tie-dye t-shirt, black and white, with the new white and pink download logo across the front. And it didn't stick around. People lapped this up. It went very, very quickly. And they're nice. They're nice shirts. Yeah. And if I had any money and whatever, I probably would have bought them. And if they'd got them in my size, which they hadn't by the time I found out about it, then maybe I love merch. You know me. I've got a wardrobe full of download merch that never sees the light of day. And this would have added to it. But no, I couldn't get there fast enough.
Yeah, I couldn't get there fast enough either, which is a shame. I couldn't add more to my useless collection stuff that comes out once a year. It's my once a year wardrobe. Right, the frustrating thing, and I find this with all like band t-shirts, tour t-shirts, festival shirts. I've got a load from like my first download in 2006. I've got a t-shirt sat in my drawer because I'm too scared to wash it in case I lose the memories, you know. But it's so I might just buy two in the future, but that's an expensive game. But you know,
do you know, I've had that thought actually because I've got one-off t-shirts from gigs I've been to or whatever, and I don't want to wear it because it's going to get ruined. I'll wear it and it'll wear away, and then I'll wash it and all that. And it's a shame to buy merch that you're never going to wear. It's never going to be shown. No one's ever going to see it. You might wear it once a year. And I've got tons of that.
Yeah.
What have you got, Lee, that never sees the light of day?
I've got a Korn t-shirt somewhere from 2002. Suffice to say, I am a bit bigger than I was when I was 12. So that's probably never going to fit me ever again.
Oh my God.
A Deftones hoodie that was far too big for me at the time, probably just about fit me now. So yeah, no, I've got tons of merch hidden away that I probably won't ever wear again, because like you say, you don't want to test it in the washing machine just in case.
And it's nice merch. That's the awful thing, isn't it? Because you're not going to buy crap. You buy stuff that you want and stuff you want to wear, but you just never end up doing it. What I have seen people doing is take old t-shirts and cutting around the design and slapping it onto a denim jacket or something, so that's. I mean, I don't know if I would do that. I'm not a denim person. Let's just say that. But that's a way around it, I suppose.
I think you could rock double denim, Neil. I think you could. I reckon triple denim.
We still need him to rock out that Greg suit from the last episode.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's a download special. That one. See, I don't mind that going in the wash. I can fuck that one up as much as I'm not bothered. It cost me £8, and it's not a special t-shirt, is it? Let's be honest.
Can you wear it on the Saturday download, please, so I can actually see you in it?
Yeah, is this definite now? You've picked the Saturday without really knowing about what?
Yeah, it's Metallica. I've never seen Metallica. I said even before the draft came out, if it's Metallica on the Saturday, I want to do the Saturday. Heard a little rumor as well that Placebo would be doing the Saturday on the second stage as well. So far, if that is the case, it's looking like a good Saturday for me. Unless Envisions play on the Friday or the Sunday or the Thursday, and then I end up doing one of those days.
There it is. Number 3.
Yeah, that's what swings it, isn't it? Is Envisions really that high up for you, as opposed to everybody else on that lineup? Envisions number 1 for you, yeah?
I think you know the answer to that. I don't know why you're bothering asking.
So whatever day they're showing up, that's the day you'll be there.
If they show up, yeah.
Okay. I thought you were in their DMs. Haven't you slid into their DMs? Can you not ask them?
We chat. Well, they're not going to tell me, are they? Because, again, they could probably get... if they start leaking bills, as we've just said, they could get bumped off.
Bumped off by Andy Coppings.
Can you imagine if Lee was the reason that Envisions didn't make the lineup?
I don't think we'd be friends again. I'm sure I'd end up getting blocked and everything then.
Oh my god! I thought who are you in touch with? Is it their PR or is it actually the band themselves?
So they're quite good on their social medias. They do reply through the band app. They do individually reply, and yeah, I think the chap's name is Connor Ferris. He's they're part of their management team who I follow, and I think he follows me back. I'm not sure, but I've had chats with him as well about the band. Yeah, asked me actually where I was based once before an Envisions tour, and I said Oxford, and they said, well, we're not going to be in Oxford, we're going to be in London. I was like, well, I could do that, and then I didn't.
Okay,
not committed.
That's the other joke on this,
if
isn't
you
it?
love them, you'd go.
Yeah, that's the other joke on it, isn't it? I'm only half committed to my favourite band.
That's why it's a joke.
Yeah.
So we've had the download announcement, and it is, according to Download, the fastest selling download ever, which is quite an achievement. I mean, after 20, can I say 20 years of Download?
Well, technically it's 19 festivals, isn't it? 18 full festivals, and then you've got obviously the pilot. So, yeah, this will be the 20th. Yeah, this will be the 20th festival, won't it?
And so it's a massive achievement. And do you reckon it's Metallica that has pushed that over the edge?
I think it's a bit of everything, right? I think it's the publicity into Download next year already prior to the announcement was quite well pushed. We had Andy Cobbett coming out saying it's a great lineup. We had all that kind of pre-hype and the expectation of 4 days. The double Metallica set, they've not headlined since 2012. They've not been in the UK since 2019. So it's that's together with the 60 plus bands, and it's the 60 plus bands we've got. They're not your Steel Panthers and your generic kind of rock, and I'm going to call it, and if you're listening, Andy, I do apologise, it's your copping rock. It's the stuff he loves. If it sounds like Def Leppard and Whitesnake, then it made the bill, right? And there's sometimes for a lot of the young folk, that could put people off when you've got bands like that supporting Slipknot. You're not going to buy your day tickets, but this lineup so far, I mean, we could be looking at a bunch of fourth stage bands, but we don't know yet. So this lineup so far is looking really fresh and really exciting. And I think they've announced it in this way because when you look at, when we were young festival, how they announce bands, that big bulk of bands that gets people excited. And I think that's kind of the vibe they've tried to go for here. Just announce a lot of fresh, modern stuff.
You touch on the, so when you say what you called the copping bands, and essentially, yes, we've only got
Copping Rock.
Yeah, Copping Rock. Essentially, we've only got one band from the 1980s, correct me if I'm wrong, on the lineup. I can't see any bands that, I mean, if they didn't cut their teeth in the 80s, they were done in the 90s. I mean, this is a very millennial lineup, and it's exciting. It is, again, I mean, is this all the old rock now? Is this the old metal bands now? Like, are we the old crowd?
Are we old now?
It looks like it.
Oh, no. Are we old enough for dad rock? Is this our dad rock?
Are we the people they moan about? Is Slipknot the new Journey? It's duality. Don't stop believing. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. You see, that you don't really notice the passage of time necessarily, do you, until it comes to things like this. And I think the time has come for all the stuff that we like to be. I mean, Placebo was out when I was a kid.
I think they released their first album in 1996. Obviously, the first single was Nancy Boy. They're a mid-90s.
You were 6 years old, Lee.
I was a babby. I was. Not old like you two.
Well, I was 13. No, sorry. 13 I was in 1996.
Fuck me, you're
And
old.
I remember the impact they had when they first appeared.
Oh.
Because I'm old enough to.
I don't. I was only a babby and wasn't really into music until I was like 9 years old.
I think I was 37. I can't do maths, but I was definitely in school.
What was the first CD that you bought?
The first CD that I bought with my own money as a youngster, I believe, was Linkin Park Hybrid Theory.
Oh, now, too cool. Too cool, Lee.
Do you want me to tell you my first CD that I had that wasn't out of my own pocket?
Oh, go on then.
The Spice Girls.
Oh, there we go.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I love the Spice Girls.
Spice Girls, Britney,
from your-
Backstreet Boys. Oh yeah, I had all those.
I love the Spice Girls, apart from the Tory one.
They're can of worms. Fuck me. They're all fucking Tories.
Yeah, that picture of Jerry hugging Nadine Dorries didn't go down well in my house.
No. That was very funny.
What about you, Eamon? What was your first CD?
The first I can remember buying was I walked into Woolworths to buy a CD single, and it was Barbie Girl by Aqua. That's the first one I remember buying.
Really? Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's metal.
Wow.
That is. That's very metal.
I definitely had, yeah. I mean, the second one was probably something by Five, but I was obsessed with Five. Still am. Book up for download. You heard.
I mean, I'm quite impressed with that, because when you're a kid, you're into novelty music, aren't you? You know, and stuff that's a little bit.
Excuse me. Why are you calling Aqua novelty? Like,
I know they had a full album out.
Look, they had a few full albums. They had Aquarium. They had, they had something else. You know, I was a big fan. I could probably still to this day sing through the entire of their first album word for word.
Wow.
I'm pretty certain they've got a TikTok.
They're very active now. They've not long reformed and started doing live stuff again, and they look really good live. I think they're playing. If they're not playing, I think they are playing. I think Rock the Park Festival in Wrexham. They might have done it this year. Is it Wrexham? It's not Wrexham. It's somewhere near Wales. With Rich would know if he was on, but he's not, so we can slag off the Welsh.
Love you, Welshies.
Yeah, that's it. But
Wow.
yeah, I love him. I'd go see him
I'm
live
quite
right
impressed.
now.
Well, is there room for them? I mean, if they were, I mean, where could you put them at download? Where would they fit?
I think the major opinion would be sort of in the bin behind third stage. But on a serious note, like we've talked about Scooter before, I reckon if you shoved them in like the Village or in like a late night slot, it would be rammed. Or like
Yeah,
I was gonna
agree.
say Thursday night in the Village, but Wednesday or Thursday, kind of everyone knows Aqua. Like
yeah.
it would just happen.
I mean, I can't name more than one, possibly two tracks, but I would absolutely be there.
You mean you can't name Barbie Girl, Dr. Jones, Candyman, Roses Are Red?
Keep going.
Can I?
I reckon you
I
should.
probably could, but I reckon I should. So Roses Are Red, Candyman. My oh my. Do you want to say goodbye? Tune.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, Bloody Wood are really good.
And just to make it fair, my first CD, oh my God. It was probably, do you remember Des'ree? This might be a bit before your time, to be honest. Des'ree, You Gotta Be, I think was my first CD. Blank Faces, they've got no idea.
sounds familiar, I have to admit, but I couldn't sing
when
it
it
for
says
you.
when you say it was called when you say it's called You Gotta Be, is it You've Got to Be, or you have a bee? You have like a pet bee? Bit about that? I don't know.
It's got to be.
Well,
So
maybe that was
confusing.
a deeper meaning that I didn't appreciate as an 11-year-old, maybe. But that was. I mean, I was trying to think of embarrassing ones. I did buy. There was a remix of the One Foot in the Grave theme tune that I bought about that same time as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's in my iTunes library, so it does occasionally show its face.
Just comes on shuffle.
Yeah. And there's some interesting explanations that have to go on when that comes on. What's this? I liked it. Slam Dunk have also announced some more bands, haven't they?
Yeah. So
Yes.
this is the festival that we had announced that we were going to first. They have added Flogging Molly, Go Go Bordello, The Hunter, Spanish Love Songs, Movements, Sincere Engineer, Wargasm, Vukovi, Holding Absence, The Mazingas, Static Dress, We Came as Romans. I didn't know much about We Came as Romans, but I've heard very positive things from people that obviously that knew them before they reunited. So that's going to be an exciting one for some people. I'm excited for Wargasm. I know they get a lot of hate. I don't understand why. I think they're such a fun band, a fun, heavy band, and I'm really glad they're going to be at Slam Dunk.
Didn't you say it was something to do with the associations that the lead singer has at one point?
So yeah, the male lead singer Sam is son of one of the Sex Pistols.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, so when they got their main stage slot, opening up the main stage, a lot of people were kicking off saying they didn't deserve it. Obviously, they got it only because of him, which I thought was unfair. They're a very popular band. If
there was shit, they wouldn't be put there, would they?
I don't imagine so. And so it's not fair to say like they're only there because of his dad, and they were there because they're a good band. They're an exciting band. So I mean, that's where I would have put them.
Yeah, you've got to have some merit apart from because your dad was a rock star or something. It's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
It's one of these weird things, isn't it? Right. So there could be a million bands like Wargasm that sound exactly the same or just as good, but you know, there's no denying that relation and Milky Way. Is it Milky? Is it Milky her name? I can't remember.
Her name's Milky, yeah.
Milky used to play with Youngblood, I'm fairly certain as well. So there's connections to the industry already, which definitely helps get a foot in the door. I think the thing is, they've got the foot in the door. They have to kind of keep it there. And I think as time goes on, people will become used to them. But I think people don't like the slots they get in so quick in their career. But I mean, I kind of agree with you. I'm kind of getting more warm to them. I remember being at the Pilot, which was my first experience of Wargasm, and I heard this. I think I referred to it at the time, sorry, Wargasm, as a monstrosity. And I seem to remember saying, you know I've not had live music for a year, but I don't want this. Something.
Okay, that's a strong opinion.
It is. However, I didn't watch them at Download this year, but I did obviously watch the highlight show and stuff like that. And the more I listen, and they did, obviously Rao Reynolds came onto a song with them, so that spurred me on to listen to them a bit. And they're all right, you know. I'm warming round, and I'm no stranger to warming round to bands. So I think if they continue the way they're going, they're going to get natural momentum as well. I
think I need to give them more of a chance, really, because I I don't think I was really paying attention at the pilot. I knew they were on. I wasn't really listening. And, from what I heard, I wasn't immediately drawn to them. But, I find that the more of a band I listen to, I get more of a feel for who they are and what kind of stuff they make. And either if it's either for me or it's not. And I feel like I ought to give them more of a chance than I have done. I'm slagging them off like whoever you were talking about, Lee, but there weren't immediately one that I thought, oh, I like this. You know what I mean?
They're definitely polarizing. They're definitely, you either love them or you detest them, I think. It's just that kind of music. I think they are splitting opinions.
Yeah, it is quite different, isn't it? I can't really think of anything that's that similar in terms of style to what they do.
No.
They've been described sort of as a new metal, which I'm a fan of.
Really?
Yeah, I loved new metal as a kid.
Well, you're the expert, aren't you, for new metal?
I wouldn't say expert. I wouldn't go that far.
You're more expert than me.
Look at that happily. Of course, you're the expert.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I was half tempted to take it off. To be honest, I thought, no, can't change style halfway through a recording. I would look strange.
If you want, you've got. If you want to, you can. By all means. There's we haven't mentioned the dinosaur that's behind you. I don't think so. There's the stranger things going on in your frame than just whether you're wearing a hat.
Well, thank you for the permission, Dad. I'll take my hat off.
Okay.
Don't mind.
So let's have a look now.
God, you do look strange. Oh, God.
All I can hear from... I take my headphones off, all I can hear is, oh, God. Yeah.
You love it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we leave. Do you know, I'm really looking forward to Slam Dunk. It'll be my first time there. Really want to see The Offspring. Looking forward to see Enter Shikari again. There's loads of bands. I'm sure we're going to have a great time. It's not one I've been to before, and it'll be different to download because they're not all the same, are they? But then we've got Bloodstock, who have also announced some extra bands. Who have we got?
This announcement was made this sort of made almost like mid-October. So to some people this may be old news, but we'll announce it regardless. So I'm not going to cut in this. All right, Eamon, I sort of cut you off then. Do you want to take this one? Do you want to take this announcement?
I mean, yeah, we can take it. So, I mean, the big band of this announcement In Flames. In Flames, landing, I think, a special guest slot on the Friday. Special guest to Killswitch. So that In Flames to Killswitch run is quite old school. And then we had, I think, Anthrax, Sepultura, Ugly Kid Joe, Whitechapel, Trollfest, who I've never heard of, but I want to hear of. And I hope it's what I think it is. Biohazard, another one I've never heard of, Cosmic Skull. And I hope it's a spacey skull. And Non-Point as well, amongst others. So, yeah, it's added to a wealth of a lineup, which we still don't have our third main stage headliner for, which is interesting. And they put out a Facebook the other day. I think Vicky did in one of the groups, just sort of saying, "We're looking for our third headliner. Who do you want to see?" So whether they're actually still looking to book a third headliner or if it's just some clever PR stuff, I don't know. But yeah, it's coming together as a good lineup with only two of the main headliners being Killswitch and Megadeth. We've got no one for the Saturday yet.
Did we not have a conversation a few weeks ago, maybe even last week, regarding Vicky maybe jokingly adding Venga Boys to the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, so Venga Boys obviously became a massive thing during the thanks to the download pilot, and it's just kind of followed around metal festivals since in DJ sets and before bands, and Death Blooms still use it before their set. But Vicky did tweet to Venga Boys, sort of saying, what are you guys doing next August, kind of thing, and it was I don't know if it was a joking tweet or what, but if you stuck them in the Thursday as just like the first band on in the Sophie tent, the tent would just explode. I mean, we had Punk Rock Factory at Bloodstock last year, and the tent was rammed. People are up for Bloodstock nowadays. People like a bit of a laugh. So Yeah, I want Venga Boys at Bloodstock. Saturday headline, let's go.
I do think that's something to remember about metalheads is that we've got a sense of humour, and we aren't all like, it must be 100% metal at this metal festival. If you've got Venga Boys, they'll get. It's not going to be an empty tent.
We're not all white corpse painted depression. We're actually quite a boisterous bunch.
Yeah. So, does it look like a typical lineup so far? There's nothing massively outlandish or surprising about the lineup so far, is there?
So it's a weird one with Bloodstock, right? Because they're known for the heavier side of heavy. So your black metal, your death metal, your power metal, and if you compare it to previous old school Bloodstock lineups, then it is quite different. You wouldn't have Killswitch on an old school Bloodstock lineup, or or bands like that. Like even Knocked Loose look a little bit out of place, but they don't, because Bloodstock has evolved, and I think having bands like Parkway Drive coming in and headlining a couple of years ago, they are evolving as a metal festival. They're still sticking to their roots. You've got Decapitated in there, Sepultura, Devil Driver, Anthrax. They are still sticking to that route, but they are definitely trying to drag in new people, like 1,000,000%. And I think they get the balance right now. It shows at the festival itself they get the balance right, but you do find on the Bloodstock forums and Facebook page, you get those people moaning. It's the same kind of people that moan that Biffy Clyro headline a rock festival. It's those kind of people. All these bands that are booked are metal bands, and they're playing a metal festival. It's as simple as that. It's a weird one, but Killswitch headlining will be phenomenal. Mega Dave, I'll probably go home early for, but people who love Mega Dave love him live. So I'll be interested to see what comes of Saturday, because the rumours were Machine Head after they finished their tour and a Monomarth, but that tour's been over now for weeks, so it's not looking like it's them. So I think Trivium are in the hat. They've still got a tour coming up, so maybe they're waiting until after that to whack Trivium in there. Yeah. But I think that'd be interesting if you had Killswitch, Trivium, and Megadeth, because that'd be a very non-traditional Bloodstock set of headliners, but still a very good set of headliners that will sell a lot of tickets.
I'm quite impressed that they've got Ugly Kid Joe for the Sunday. I mean, I haven't heard of Ugly Kid Joe since what must be the 90s. So, I mean, I don't know if they've split up and reformed or what, but that's Ugly Kid Joe, really? Wow, nice booking.
Yeah, they just kept going, I think. I don't think they split up at all, but I could be completely wrong.
I wouldn't mind seeing some more power metal on the Bloodstock lineup. I think that's something they've not lacked, because there have been some power metal bands playing, but my first Bloodstock, obviously you had a band called Ordenogan, and I'd love to see more of that German power metal, just because. I'm a bit selfish, I enjoy it, and I'm sure in past Bloodstocks there have been more of that sort of style of metal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd like to see some more power metal, because you see one power metal band at Download, and I think Bloodstock, if they did more of that, you'd probably get a bit of a niche crowd, but it's a crowd that could do with their own sort of music at a festival.
Oh, 100%. And Bloodstock is always good for booking that kind of band. And I've just been giggling in the background as well, because I've clicked on Trollfest's name on the Bloodstock lineup, and I'm very happy, because I'll just read the genre and you can make your own opinion. The genre they describe themselves as, it says Trollfest's closest genre definition would have to be something like, to describe them as, that is bad English, but it is happy-go-lucky, party troll, folk black metal. And as soon as we finish this podcast, I am going to go and listen to Trollfest, because it sounds great.
Wow. Oh my god, I've never heard anything like it.
No, I want all this in my life.
They're from Norway. That would explain a lot, to be fair.
Oh, does that make sense now, does it?
It does. So I love Norway. I've holidayed there, and I'm going again next year.
Are you?
And this does make sense. Yeah, it's daft meets black metal. It makes total sense to me.
Are they the type to have inflatables on stage with them?
Click on their name.
It looks that way.
Yeah, if you clicked on the name, Neil, and had a look at their main picture and all their Hawaiian shirts, you'd probably you could take a guess. Say there could be a few inflatables coming.
Okay, let's have a little look.
This is what makes things great, right, with metalheads. And I find metalheads so bizarre. Like, I include myself in this. We're happy to have this kind of metal band, and we love it. And you've got Ailstorm and your pirate metal, whatever you want. But, like, the second you book someone like Bring Me the Horizon for a festival, you call Bring Me the Horizon silly and pop. Like, but we're there with fucking inflatable swords and boats having a whale of a time. Like, it's just so silly. I love it.
They do look fun, in fairness.
Yeah, they look very, very
you
fun.
know, what else do you go to a gig for? You want to have fun. It's not all about death and people equal shit. And, you know, it's you want to have fun too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on. So so I did the same as you, and I've just clicked on Church of the Cosmic Skull. And
I've not been there yet.
No, and they've been described as putting the ABBA in Sabbath since 2016. The band's mystical origins and white robe stage attire carry all the trappings of an early 70s hippie sex cult, but their sound is rooted firmly in the crunching classic era arena rock.
Oh, wow. I think I'd be up the front for these.
That sounds hilarious as well.
That does sound like a good time. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I would definitely see them.
From Nottingham.
I was going to say they're from your neck of the woods, aren't they? Or around the Midlands sort of.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find them.
Does that make sense as well? Because, oh, well, they're from Nottingham. That makes sense. Is it one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on a little bit. We've got Glastonbury. Ticket sales have just happened. There's only a small window when you can get a Glastonbury ticket. And it has passed. And they all got sold out within, was it minutes?
It was within an hour.
It was very quick. Within an hour.
Yeah.
And it's a huge place. How many tickets are they selling? Like 200,000?
It's 200,000.
At least 7.
At least 7.
Yeah. Maybe 8, but
Yeah.
wow, God. I mean, you know, Lee, because we were talking about how busy it was when Guns N' Roses were at Download, and then Eamon, you were mentioning 2012 when Metallica came to Download, and it was just so rammed at Download. Can you imagine it being like that every single day at a place like Glastonbury? I don't know if I could cope.
It sounds like hell. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah, it did.
this is one of the things that's making me sort of doubt my attendance for the Metallica Saturday. Is that it's going to be exactly the same, if not worse, at Download for Metallica or the Metallica Day. It's going to be rammed, and it's going to make for a fantastic show and a fantastic day. The atmosphere is going to be incredible, but fucking 110,000 people, let alone 200,000 at Glastonbury. It sounds like hell.
Do you know, it's a bother me at Glastonbury because you can't get a good view of anything. I mean, if you see it on television and the crowd is so far back. I mean, at least from the way it looks on telly, that you just think, well, if I'm stood at the back, can I hear it? Can I see what's going on? I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that really. I mean, Download is a much, much smaller festival, so you probably are going to be able to see what's going on. But I don't know if it's still going to be. It's too busy. There's too many people.
It's a long way to walk for a Wii as well. Like,
yes,
if you're down the front of that stage for, I don't know, Shirley Bassey having a great time, and you know you need a Wii. Like, there's no quick sprint to the bar. But yeah,
and it's not pint pots of beer that people are throwing.
Yes, it is. No one wants to pee in a cup and throw it. God. That's just disgusting.
So, Iron Maiden have announced a UK tour between June and July next year. They'll be visiting Glasgow, Leeds, Manchester, Nottingham, Birmingham, and London. It's a huge tour, this, and that's just the UK leg, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking like a good tour. I mean, I'm not a massive Maiden fan, but yeah, I'm quite surprised they're doing arenas and that many. They usually come across just do a stadium show here or there, so it's quite a nice change from to do arenas.
Maybe they're starting to calm down and wind down from their stadium shows. That maybe now those sort of bands have peaked in their stadiums at the start. Right, let's go back into arenas. You know, we're getting old now. So let's get back into the clubs. Let's get back into the dives. Let's not put any pressure on ourselves anymore. We've had our fun.
Yeah, this is a European tour. They're going all over the place, and it is arenas. Yeah, you're right. I can see a lot of arenas there. Some festivals. There's a festival there in Italy, the Return of the Gods Festival. And then Germany, Festhalle. Not sure what that is. Olympia Halle.
By the looks of
arenas,
it,
I don't know.
By the looks of it, the Europe legs are, apart from the specific, like the ones that say actually arena in the title, a lot of them look like festivals. The Antwerp, Belgium one, that's grass pop. I'm absolutely certain that's grass pop. And then you've got the Dortmund in Germany. Oh no, I could be wrong here. Westfalenhalle. I have no idea. I was going to say Rock am Ring, but they're playing Wacken.
Yeah.
In August, so they're mixing it up with festivals and arenas by the looks of it.
Hellfest. 4-day passes were only on sale for an hour before selling out. Where's Hellfest?
France.
Is that one you would go to? Because I don't know much about Hellfest.
It's one I want to go to. Yeah.
It's only 60,000 people as well, which I was quite surprised at. I thought with the sort of names they pulled out of the hat for this year's festival, which ended up being a 7-day festival, it's only about 60,000 people.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and I'm just going to drop their name in again. Envision's actually open up the main stage at Hellfest. So obviously,
today, wow.
That's one thing that, you know what? That's one thing that's annoyed me. How a festival in Europe has given this band a push like that to stick them on their main stage, over the main stage, and download. Yeah, they did put them in the Bawdy Takeover, but we know who was to thank for that. But to not have them in the main download, I think they might have missed a trick. And it's not just Envisions that it happens to.
Yeah, it's very competitive. You know, everybody wants to be on those stages, don't they?
That's one of, if not France's biggest metal festival. So I'd have thought, like you said, competition. They would have. Maybe I'm just biased. Maybe I like them too much. I just think
they should be at the top of the festival. They should be on every stage, on every time. Yeah. I mean,
I agree. I agree with your opinion. That's your opinion. I agree with it.
Yeah. I mean, who else is it that you like apart from Envisions? There's another one I can't think of. Korn. There we go.
I do love Korn.
I never hear you talk about Korn anymore.
Korn don't need the recognition. You know, they're almost a 30-year-old band, so they've had their time. You need to make room for the new bands. The band you're thinking of is As Everything Unfolds, because they're from my own. Okay. They're from my hometown of High Wycombe. Yes. So I tried to plug them as much as I could before the this download this year, because they're my hometown homies, so they deserve a plug-in.
Do you know what? They're not on the download lineup, are they?
Because they played last year.
I guess they could be.
They played last year.
So does that mean that they won't be on next year's?
It's rare that bands do play year after year. It's rare, but it can happen. I'm not sure what their plans are for.
They've done 2 years on the trot, haven't they, as well?
Is that as everything unfolds?
They did the pilot as well, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, they did the pilot.
And they actually played twice in the same year.
They did.
This year.
They played in the RIP Village, which was awesome.
It was very loud. So we've got a strange story next. Not really sure what this is all about, but apparently someone was grating cheese onto people at a show. Now, how you managed to get through with cheese and a grater into the audience of any show, I don't really know. Let's read the story and find out, shall we? This is from metalinjection.net. So, Viagra Boys, which is a Swedish rock band, were playing the Desert Days Festival. And someone in the crowd started grating cheese on other concert goers, like full on grating a whole block of cheddar onto people. And there's pictures of this. There's somebody, can you see this? There's somebody with their hands in the air in the crowd, cheese in one hand, grater in the other. And, you know, I know it's not a knife, but a cheese grater, it could do some damage. I mean, it would be very unpleasant. Look, you can see this clearly. Why?
I have so many questions. Like, so many questions. Firstly, oh, wow. It's all kicking off on that TikTok. I have so many questions. Like, one, who are the Viagra Boys? And, like, what is their profession? Like, second... Why? Yeah. Third, what kind of cheese was it? Because if this is in Sweden, there's plenty to choose from.
Oh, that's true.
And four, like, what? Why?
Yeah, there's no answer to this. It was just spotted at a gig, and no one managed to get an answer. But there it is. So just watch out next time you go to a gig. There could be low-flying cheese.
Tell you what,
so duck.
That was a great story, Neil.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, beware the cheese. So physical copies of Slipknot's new album have got the wrong title on the cover. Now that's a bit of a fuck up, isn't it? That's not something you want to happen. I'm gonna share this with you so you can read along with me. Let's read along, children. So physical copies of the record have the wrong title on the cover, and fans have reported their copy contains the error. One fan uploaded a photo of their vinyl copy of the album on Reddit, which shows the title "The End for Now" ... on the cover, rather than "The End, so far." I mean, it's not a massive mistake, but it is a bit weird. I mean, perhaps that was, you have working titles and the wrong one was sent to the printers or something like that. But I guess would they be worth more because they're wrongly printed?
Give it 20 years. You'll see people bidding for it on eBay. Guarantee you'll see people bidding thousands for it on eBay.
That is a story from loudwire.com. It's quite unusual, though.
It's an unusual thing, and I don't know if you've listened to the album, but it's an unusual album as well.
Is it? In what way?
It's a Slipknot record. It is, but I've not re-listened to it more. I listened to it 2 or 3 times just to try and get my head around it. I'm not re-listened to anything from it. It's kind of very just there for me. It's very Corey. It's very modern Corey Slipknot, but it's probably more so than All Hope Is Gone and everything else. It's not for me, but it's got a couple of songs in there that will go down well in a set list. It's got 2 or 3 songs that they can slot into a set quite easily.
Well, according to Kerrang.com, it has done very well. It has got to number one, their third UK number one album. So it's selling. Look at them all there. They love it. Not sure which costume I would like to wear for Halloween, actually. Probably this guy at the front with a sort of Little Red Riding Hood.
Sid,
outfit
he's
on.
actually British. He's from Oxfordshire. He's from Oxfordshire. He's lived in America.
Oh, do you know him?
No, he's lived in America most of his life. But he is originally from Oxfordshire, I believe. Also, is he not married to Kelly Osbourne now? I'm sure I read that somewhere.
No way.
Unless I've just made
my
that up.
God.
I think you're right.
I need to just double check so I haven't made that up.
I mean, is that a match made in heaven, do you think?
Maybe.
Well, can you imagine if Ozzy was like your stepdad, your father-in-law? I don't know how I'd feel about that.
I don't know. I can't really.
I think it would make me feel a bit paranoid.
Could you imagine nicking his beer?
You're right.
Could you imagine slipping one of his beers out of his room and going fucking mental at you? I mean, I know he's an old man now, but I still shit myself.
Your life would be like being on a crazy train. Sorry.
How does that first meeting happen? It's like, hi, yeah, you're gonna come meet the parents today, and it's Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne because she's just as crazy. Like, can you imagine just sitting there going round for a Sunday roast and just going, "Oh yes, it's nice to meet you. What do you do? Oh, I wear a mask and scream."
Yeah,
I hit bins with a freaking baseball bat.
Do you know what? When you meet Ozzy Osbourne, I don't think there's anything that you could say that could surprise him or surpass anything that he's already done. I think he's
very true.
You know, he'd probably just go, "All right then." You know, I've still got so much. How can I put that? I've got a lot of respect for Ozzy. You know, he's seen it all. He's done it all, hasn't he? And he's survived a lot. I like Ozzy. I'm going through an Ozzy phase. Like, I go through phases of Ozzy as to whether I like him or don't. And I'm going through an Ozzy phase, but I think it's because I watch a lot of like ghost hunting shows, and Jack Osbourne's a ghost hunter now. And that's his career. But he also does a show, like it's on Discovery Plus if you want to watch it, which is Osbourne's Want to Believe, and it's basically a creepy goggle box in like the Osbourne's basement where Jack Osbourne will show Ozzy and Sharon clips of like ghost hunts or UFOs and tries to make them believe, and it's just Ozzy just making stupid comments on these fucking clips, and it's whilst he's trying not to fall very
asleep,
watchable.
It is very watchable. It's very very good. But I love him, and it's people are at the minute deciding if next year's tour is going to happen because obviously he's struggling to walk. There was the 2 shows he's done, like was it the Commonwealth Games? He came back and did that, and people are questioning if he can do a full tour next year. And I'd be very surprised if he did. He's looking very old nowadays. Yeah, he is looking very old, but there's still time for him to recover and get into shape. And it's been quite documented that when he goes onto stage, he's a completely different person, and he's just there. So maybe he's got one last outing in him before he retires. I'd like to think he does, because it'd be a shame for him to go without it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Has he retired before? Has he ever retired?
No, like Black Sabbath have retired multiple times, but then he's always carried on with Ozzy stuff. I've had a lot of breaks, but he's always tended to do a lot of Ozzy Osbourne stuff outside of it.
He's still releasing records, isn't he? I mean, he's still writing and recording.
Yeah, and the most recent album is actually really good. There's a lot of collaborations on it, but it's a really, really good album. And, the fact he's still got that in him as well is pretty impressive. So I think he's got one more in him, and I think he'd want to do it. I think he's always said he'll die on stage, so I think it's probably going to happen.
Oh, my God. There's been, because we've been away for a few weeks, and in that time, quite a lot has happened. particularly to Blink 182. They've reappeared out of nowhere, haven't they?
Yeah, where have they come from? You know, Tom DeLonge, he's back. He stopped being a conspiracy theorist and he's stopped chasing UFOs. And...
I heard he was well into sort of like alien chasing or something like that, UFO chasing.
But yeah, he's back, and I'm conflicted. Right? I'm going to Birmingham. I'm going to see him.
Are you?
So I am very excited. I was very lucky to snag some tickets, and you know the new song they've released, "Edging," it's like he's never been away. It's
really?
Very good. It's like, you know, it's not old school Blink, but it's like Blink grown up. But there is a but that comes with this. Like I saw them on their first reunion back in 2014 or somewhere along that period, 2009, 2014. At time they kind of reunited the first time round, and they were shite. Like, and it was mainly because of Tom. Like, Tom wasn't good on stage, and it kind of dragged the momentum of it down. And it was kind of, I walked away from the set. I saw them at Leeds Festival, and I walked away saying I'd never watch them again. And they're one of my favourite bands. But then Matt Skiba joined the band to replace Tom for that period, and I've seen him with Skiba now a couple of times, and they blew me away. Like, they were a completely different band. They were so refreshed, so energized. And I love the 2 albums they released with Skiba were incredible. And I was always kind of, you know, I don't want Tom to come back. But with that said, if Tom is on form and he's sorted himself out a bit and he's excited for it and wants to do it, then it's going to be a spectacular reunion, I think, this time around. I think it's got a very different vibe about it. Last time it was very much felt like a cash-in, but I think you can tell there's something fresh about it. So I'd love a world where there was all 4 of them doing a tour, but I think it's going to be very good and very exciting to see Tom back. And it's obviously blown up the internet because there's people that didn't know Blink 182 was still going. They think this is a brand new reunion, and they've actually not stopped. They've just changed vocalists. So it's, yeah, I'm excited. And if the album's anything like the single, it's going to be a good album.
You've obviously got faith, Eamon, that they're going to be as good as you hope they're going to be, because you've bought tickets, haven't you?
I bought tickets, and fuck me, they were expensive. I never thought I'd pay like 80 quid per ticket. I think it's 80 quid, and I'm rare standing at Birmingham, and that's fucking expensive, right? But nothing's cheap nowadays. No. Now, I think, would I have bought tickets? So, my other half, Laura, who you know well, she's never seen Blink with Tom. So that kind of swayed me to get tickets and give them another try. And then they've released Edging, which, you know, it does seem very fresh, and it seems like they've put actually a bit of effort into it and tried to rekindle that old Blink kind of vibe. So I'm hopeful, and there's a lot riding on it for them, I think. And I think with obviously everything all the band's been through separately their lives, so I think it means a lot to them to come back together as the original 3, and I think that's why it's happening now, because I think they'll regret it if they didn't do it. So I think it's, last time round it felt like a cash-in, and it felt very much like, especially Tom couldn't be bothered, and was just kind of ringing it in, whereas this time it feels, they've not performed live obviously yet, but this time it feels better.
So when does the tour actually begin? Have they started yet, or?
It's over in America first, I believe. But over here, it's October next year. With the story so far supporting, I believe.
So they should be well grooved in by the time you get to see them.
They'll either be well grooved in or well sick of it all by then. So we'll see.
Yeah, October, fair enough. It's a way off, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Dream State are back with a brand new lineup and single called Taunt Me.
Yeah. This is exciting, and it provokes more conversations than just Dream State, I think. So I don't know if you're familiar with Dream State, but previously the last few years, they were an absolutely huge up-and-coming band, with CJ, their singer, was just phenomenal on stage, phenomenal presence. They were getting a lot behind them, a lot of opportunities, and had a big following. But CJ left the band for her own personal reasons, which I completely respect. And it left, but essentially all the band left, and it left just one guy, Aled. in the band. So he's the only member of the band now, and he's created this new lineup, new singer, new guitar, new drummer, new bass player, and him. And I was nervous about it because I love Dream State, and is it still Dream State with a completely different lineup? I don't know, but they've released this new song, and Jessie, she's very different to CJ, and she's got. Weirdly, I've never heard anything she's done before, but she's got a weird, almost Chester Bennington vibe. Like, her voice is quite raspy, but in a good way. It's very,
Really?
it's a very powerful voice, and what I'm hearing so far sounds promising. I still don't know if it's Dream State. Like, Alad's an original member. He's who created Dream State pretty much, but can a band be a band if you lose 95% of your band? Is that a thing?
Well, look at there's a lot of Motown acts that have changed. Do you know what? Weirdly enough, the 90s dance act Snap, I think that's his son rather than actually him doing rapping on stuff now. So, I mean, I guess you can still, under the same banner, under the same name, do it, because people do it, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, is it any different to, like, I don't know, different people playing Macbeth? Like, is it any different to that? It's just material. It's just artistic material. So I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Well, what do you reckon to the new single?
It's good. It is a good, and it is Dream State. It, like, weirdly, it's a very Dream Statey song. Yeah. So. But how have they made a Dream State song? It's just one member of Dream State left. I don't know. My mind is blown. Like, my mind is completely blown. But I'm excited for the future of them. You know, I do love Dream State and the name, and they've got a great back catalogue. Be interested to see how Jessie copes with that, and, you know, any forthcoming album. But yeah, it's a very interesting scenario.
The DNA of Dream State must have somehow survived in that one remaining member. And he's inseminating everybody.
he's spreading the Dream State seed.
He is.
It's happening.
It's quite an image.
Yeah.
Now then, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, who we all love, I'm sure, they've got a single, "The Drugs" is the name of it, and that's with Jamie T. Now, I'm not sure where I stand on Jamie T, to be honest, and I haven't heard the single, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I do love Frank and the Rattlesnakes, and I've got a T-shirt. I've seen them on stage. I've got some of their stuff, so I can only hope that it's as good as I hope it's going to be.
It sounds interesting. I admittedly have a Jamie T album lying about somewhere. I used to listen to him as a teenager. So it's an interesting collaboration. I haven't listened to the single yet. I think it would definitely be worth a go. Very interesting.
So I have, but so poor research, boys. Poor research. Honestly, you call yourself hosts. Honestly, no. I it was a music video as well, and if anything, like, it's very new era Frank Carter, so it is a good song. Yeah. But if anything, just watch the music video, because Jamie T cannot lip sync, like, to save his life. I don't know who edited it and put it together, but he can't lip sync. It's really odd. But yeah, it is a good track. It's a good collab.
So you recommend this one, yeah?
I do, yeah. And Frank himself has gone through a period of collaborations. Like, the whole last album, all 30 minutes of it was just collaborations. So yeah, I think they make it work.
Yeah, he's another one that's not afraid of collaborations. You know, and either they work or they don't. You know, so good luck to him. So, another Slipknot story here. They are confirming a 3-day Australian edition of Knotfest for all you Aussies. I'm not sure if we've got any people listening on Australia, actually, but they're going to get Knotfest.
You die, Australians.
Didn't hear what you said, then it broke up.
I said, good day, Australians. I'm here with crap accents. So you got to enjoy your Knotfest, yeah? I'm going to stop now.
Yeah.
So I've not looked at the Knotfest lineup for Australia, but I've always wanted to go to a Knotfest, and it's where I think Downloads missed a trick. I was expecting Slipknot to headline, but I was expecting it to be provided as a Knotfest day, because that Slipknot are touring Knotfest, right? And they're doing it all over Europe. We were meant to have a Knotfest in Milton Keynes last year, but it got cancelled due to COVID, and we never had that replaced. So I assumed we'd get a Knotfest edition at Download, but we haven't, and it's quite strange that we haven't, I think. But yeah, I'm excited for the Australians because I don't think they've ever had a Knotfest, and for it to be 3 days, that's very cool.
Maybe
they've got their own. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say maybe our Knotfest will be 2024. Maybe because they were doing Download in 2023, they couldn't fit it in for this year, so they've moved it maybe onto 2024. It'd be
quite possibly.
It'd be a very, very good day out in Milton Keynes. Either way.
Milton Keynes, Australia. Korn's Jonathan Davis has officially launched Freak on a Leash pet brand. Now, metalheads love animals. We know this. This is a well-known fact. And I think he's actually tapping into something that is probably going to be a goldmine for him because, Lee, you love Korn. I'm sure you love Jonathan Davis, and you love your little doggy.
I almost bought some stuff.
What's your dog's name?
Oscar. I almost bought some stuff for him.
Oscar the dog.
I'm not going to lie. I looked at the website. There is some interesting stuff. There's a zombie hand that a dog can chew on, a scorpion, obviously the various leather and nylon leashes. Yeah, no, I almost bought some stuff, to be fair. It's who doesn't love a dog? I mean, I'm always wary about people that say they don't like dogs.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
I'm weary about weird, creepy men with long hair, all dressed in black, holding black leather straps. Like, it looks like something out of a weird sex dungeon. Like, those PR pictures are not good. Like, even him walking the dogs is weird. Like, it's just a weird...
He doesn't look natural, does he?
No. Like, he's like, come on, doggies, I wish you were humans. Like,
yeah, I don't think they're his dogs, are they?
No, it's odd. Like, those pictures are not good. But the Freak on a Leash makes sense. Like, it's just the images. That picture right there, it's just like something out of a serial killer documentary.
Didn't put you off though, Lee, did it? Although you didn't buy anything. I mean, did you not find something that Oscar might like?
Didn't have money at the time. Cost of living crisis. You got to be careful with your cash these days. I mean,
so Oscar might have to wait till Christmas for Santa to bring it for him.
He's got plenty of toys. He has. He's destroyed half of them, but he's got plenty of toys.
Next, we're going to look at what's happening gig-wise and festival-wise in our unofficial guide. So, what gigs or festivals are coming up in the next month or two?
I'm gonna go straight in with the Who's tour.
Really?
The HU, yeah, the HU, the Who.
Not the WHO.
Oh no, not them. I would not recommend them in the slightest. We've had enough of them.
No,
but the Who. Great band live, and they were meant to be on the Sabaton tour with Lordi, but that's now been postponed, so the Who have had to pull out of that, which is gutting. But yeah, I'm hoping to make one of them. They're doing Belfast, Glasgow, and London, Birmingham, Cardiff, Nottingham. They're kind of going everywhere, so I'm going to hope to get to the Nottingham show, but it's like the first week of December they're doing that, so they're kind of going around the UK, which will be good.
Yeah,
I was going to go to that Sabaton, the Who, and Lordi show, but yeah, they cancelled, and unfortunately we weren't able to we weren't able to make the rescheduled gig, which is a shame. But that's an amazing lineup, though. That looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to the Leeds date, but so now the lineup is Sabaton, Baby Metal, and Lordi, which is...
Is he really? Wow.
A mild change, yeah. We got Baby Metal instead.
Who have you got there, Lee? Anybody?
Placebo.
Oh, yes.
The tour for Placebo is almost sold out. I think last time I checked, they only had one show left, which was in Cardiff. And this is why I said earlier, I'm surprised they haven't been at Download beforehand, because clearly they can sell out shows. They've got 2 Brixton Academy shows, which from the poster says they're sold out. It baffles me that they've not made Download sooner. But they are, the entire tour is nearly sold out. So if you wanted to get tickets, you better look at the Cardiff show.
I want to talk about a gig that I'm going to, which is a Linkin Park tribute band. And it's one of those where they've spelled Linkin Park differently. But it still looks like you're reading Linkin Park. The one I'm going to is in Manchester on the 25th of November. But they are doing different dates in different places. I've never seen them before, so I can't say how good they are. But I'm a big fan of Linkin Park. Would love to see what, the next best thing, really, because I don't think Linkin Park are going to do anything anytime soon. They're not going to replace any. It's not going to happen, is it? I don't think I think they're done, aren't they? Unless there's things I don't know about. Well,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, how do you replace Chester? Do you replace Chester? It's difficult, right? Because he was so unique. But
yeah.
I think they'll be back. And I think they'll be back.
Do you really?
Within the next couple of years, I think you can't keep Mike Shinoda down, and they have never said they are done. They've said they just need time. So, they did that whole tribute gig where they got a load of people out on stage, and then what one person I was impressed with when I think it was a Leeds Reading Festival a few years back when Mike Shinoda played, and Sum 41 covered Faith, and they brought Mike Shinoda out, and Derek's voice was just phenomenal for that. So there's people like that could slide into the books relatively well. And
wow, yeah.
I want them to do something. I want them to do a new era. You've got bands like AC/DC who arguably got twice the size, and when Bon Scott passed away, and they got Brian Johnson in, and this band that it hasn't affected.
It's true.
So it's a difficult one. So to do, how do you do it? I'd like them to do something.
Because there was such a lot of love for Chester. He was so widely loved, and it was so keenly felt when he died that it almost feels like if they were to replace him, it would almost be disrespectful to his memory somehow. I'm not saying it would be, but you can understand how people might have that kind of viewpoint that they wouldn't want Linkin Park without him, and no matter who they chose, they wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I'm using the AC/DC comparison again, but Chester's lyrics had a lot of emotion and a lot of his own experiences behind them. I suppose it was very different for AC/DC. Bon Scott was singing about if you want blood and high voltage rock and roll. He wasn't singing about his heartfelt emotions. Yeah. So I suppose singing those songs differently afterwards is fine. But when you're singing something like Breaking the Habit or Numb, it's a completely different meaning when that person's put a lot of their heart into it. So yeah, it's a weird one, and whatever they do, or if they do anything, it's got to be sensitive to it. But I hope if they do something, they don't go down the fucking route of just having his face on screen and his voice played out, and just they do that. I hope they don't do that. I think that would tarnish it. And I think obviously the first tour will have a big tribute section to him, of course, but if they do a tour. So I want them to do something properly if they're going to do it. I want them to just go full on, get a new singer, just do something different, do something in their own way. I think, I think there'll be something. I have faith, but when and where or what or why,
I think it depends on the quality. You know, if whoever comes in is good, then I don't think it matters as much. Like, you know, when Brian Johnson came in, it's not like he was it's not even that he was better or worse necessarily, but he was good enough. There was a good enough quality there that you just thought, oh, well, AC/DC are going again. And you just got into it.
And he was completely different to Bon Scott, which I think is the thing as well. So,
yeah,
he had a completely different voice, completely different style, and he took the old tracks, did them in his way, and put his stamp on it, and still is. So maybe it was a completely different factor that did it. If they didn't try to replace Bon Scott, they didn't try that sleazy kind of rock and roll guy. They just went, we want a good singer. And that's what they went with.
I think, finding someone who's a good fit is probably good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Any other gigs that you want to recommend?
Yeah, if you can't wait till download next year, there's definitely a few options for you to see those bands a little bit earlier. Within Temptation and Evanescence are touring together. They are in London on the 14th of November, Birmingham on the 15th, Glasgow on the 17th, and Leeds on the 19th. Again, Within Temptation are sort of a very melodic, operatic kind of metal. And I would highly recommend that sort of, if you fancy a little bit of a change in your metal scene, I definitely would recommend that. And also, the Architects are supporting Biffy Clyro, are also playing over the country this week. This week being commencing, let's say, from the Friday, the 11th of November, which is today. They are playing. They are in Birmingham this evening. Tomorrow, London. On the 14th, they're in Cardiff, and on the 15th, they're in Bournemouth. Tickets are still available. Who else have I seen? Fozzy. Who doesn't like a bit of...
I spotted Fozzy, yeah.
Who doesn't like a bit of Chris Jericho and Fozzy? I don't really, to be fair. I like Chris Jericho, the wrestler, not the band. But they are, again, on tour this month. They are in Bristol and London. And they're playing this evening in Bournemouth. Might have missed that one. Sorry.
Yeah, sounds about that. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been to a gig around Christmas time.
I have.
Have you seen?
I saw... So December it was weird. December used to be... when the wife and I would usually... That's when we'd go to our gigs. It just random used to happen. Both times Korn were featured. So Korn, Slipknot around in sort of December time, just before Christmas. Korn and Limp Bizkit in 2018, I think. We saw Nightwish and Beast in Black again at Wembley just before Christmas. It does happen. And if it's anything like Wembley was lit up like, pun intended, a Christmas tree. Very atmospheric.
Oh, it does sound quite nice, that.
Yeah.
My eyes landed on Thy Art Is Murder, who were due to tour in December.
Oh.
They'd got a UK tour planned, not a massive one, Glasgow, Birmingham, Manchester, London, at some O2 academies. Unfortunately, they've been cancelled and rescheduled, which is a real shame because I think they're great. We saw them, didn't we? 2018, I think it was.
It was. We saw them instead of Guns N' Roses, and we mentioned Venga Boys quite early on in the pod. They came out to The Venga Bus Is Coming, which was awesome. Which I've got it on video somewhere, and it blows my mind how you're going to go and see this death metal band, who again are talking about hatred, religion, etc., and yet they're coming out to something as bouncy and happy as The Venga Bus Is Coming.
It shouldn't make sense, should it? But somehow it does.
Works. It works. It was fun. Everyone was jumping. I think it was a mosh pit as well. It's just the stereotype might be metalheads being miserable and depressive, etc. But we do know how to have a good time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, there's so much variety in metal. We're not, and none of us all like just one type of metal. It's a broad church.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I loved watching Thy Art Is Murder instead of Guns N' Roses, and we had a fucking great time.
We did.
We had a massive bop to Thy Art Is Murder, and I'll tell you what, we weren't the only ones in there. It was very full to watch them, as I recall. That's my lasting memory of watching them. It was packed out. Was that in the Dogtooth?
It was, yeah.
tent?
It was on their fourth stage, and I think
The fourth stage.
I think again, though the Art's Murder is the same situation as I think it was Ginger, 12-Foot Ninja the year after, where there was just a pile of people, 20 deep, outside the tent trying to see them.
Yeah.
I think they are really sort of underestimating some of the bands they put on that fourth stage, because that tent, that tent is far too small sometimes.
And they even made it bigger for 2022.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice any sort of size change. I know, being the size of a small human compared to this tent, but I didn't notice any major size difference. I wonder whether they held back that plan. I don't know.
I think it was still twice the size of what it was capacity-wise. I think they still did keep that. But yeah, it does still seem, when you put those bands in there, like Bleed From Within, for instance, you put bands like that in there, it's going to be rammed and it's going to feel smaller than what it is. That's the issue.
So I think we can leave our guide there, and we can move on to our Festpod Favourites. So this is where we recommend something we've seen that we like. What have you spotted, Lee?
Well, I'm going to mention for the fourth and final time and just take a slow step back.
Five. This will be fifth.
Oh, excuse me. Fifth. Thank you. Now, this isn't specific to Envision. This is more specific to band merchandise in general. You and I, Neil, and you, Eamon, admittedly today, we love a bit of merch.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes, again, the pandemic proved, to me anyway, that if you can't make a gig, buying the band's merchandise is the next best thing to do for a band's sort of income, to try and keep them going. And I think if you are supporting bands that are like Envisions, definitely buy the merchandise. I will describe it ever so briefly. If you didn't see me describe it on the live pod the other day, this flag is actually signed by the band, so it means quite a lot. I've also got myself a new t-shirt, which, on that, you mentioned the tie-dye download hoodie earlier. I believe that design was stolen from Envisions because they released a red and pink, well, pinkish and white tie-dye t-shirt about 2 months beforehand. I did message the band to tell them, and they did reply back saying, well, ours is better, obviously.
Oh, right.
Within that,
cheaper as well.
Sorry? Deeper?
Probably cheaper.
Oh, cheaper.
Yes.
It was good value for money. Along with that merchandise pack, I also got a signed photograph with all four of them from their from the Deadlock album run. So yeah, my recommendation is, if you're going to support a band, it's all well and good buying the tickets and the music, but make sure you buy their merchandise to help them continue. Because obviously we lost a couple of bands during the pandemic and even beforehand, because it just wasn't money wise. It just couldn't work out.
So in terms of a specific item that you want to recommend to our listeners and viewers, is it the flag or the t-shirt or what?
I wasn't being specific. I was like,
I know, but that's this section, isn't it? So we want a particular item that you're pointing people at to say, hey, everybody, you ought to buy this thing.
Go buy the flag. Make sure you get it signed as well. There you go.
Is it from the website?
It is on their website. Yep, it's on their merchandise website. I'd love them to sell. I'd love them to have a new range of merchandise as well that I can chuck my money at them for. But yeah,
You should set up a direct debit or a standing order or something. Just send them your.
Don't. There's an ongoing joke in this house that I'm alone are the income stream for Envisions because I'm buying all their stuff.
Well, that's what it's like to be a fan, isn't it? How much was the flag?
About 20 quid. Yeah, 25 quid.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's signed. So I mean, yeah, for 25 quid for a signed flag, I was quite happy with that. I think T-shirt was about the same, and then the signed photograph was free.
Hey, nice. Eamon, what have you got?
So, I've got an album this time around, and it's come out today, released today by Stephen Akira, who we all know and love.
Yes.
It's their third album, Nozomi. I don't actually know how you say the title, but it's a phenomenal album.
Is it?
I think it's really. They've always been a good band on even on their first two albums, but this is kind of a cemented version of the band now. It very much sounds like this is them. This is their sound. It's very them, and there's a lot of variety on that album. You know, Dioxide's an absolute belter of a track. You've got Reason to Breathe, which is a ballad, like for lack of a better word, which is just incredible and very emotive. You know, we were talking about Linkin Park and their emotive lyrics earlier. You know, Reason to Breathe is really emotive for Stephen Akira, and I think it's going to do a lot for them. It's an absolutely fantastic album. I think they're playing a launch party tonight or last night maybe in their hometown. But yeah, I think it's going to do a lot for them, and they've got big things coming for them. So go buy that album. They've got different bundles out as usual. Just go buy it. Go stream it on Spotify if you have to. Just go listen to it.
I'm always in favour of buying physical copies where I can. You know, if I really love the band, I'll definitely get a physical copy.
Definitely.
I mean, not only does it help the band out because it's cash, because if you're streaming it, they get barely anything, do they? And they have to rely on all of their touring cash.
That's it, especially especially bands the size of Stephen Akira. You know, they're not making millions off their tours anyway or merch there. So streaming their content, they make pennies if they're lucky from that each month. So it's really hard for bands to sell albums now. So buying that physical bundle, like where you get a T-shirt as well, you know, it's good value for money, and it just helps them out. Even if you've not got a CD player, CDs look good on a shelf. You know, I don't think I've got a CD player anymore, but you know, I still buy them. I probably never will take the cellophane off some of them, but you know, just like the T-shirts sit in my drawer, the CDs can sit on a shelf and they look pretty, you know, but I know I've done good for the band by chucking them 20, 30 quid.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned like streaming only does like pennies in that. I'm most recently got onto Tidal as sort of a place to stream my music. And they guarantee that 10% of your subscription goes towards the band. So
wow.
For example, I've gone for their top tier subscription, which is £20 a month, and I think for the last 6 months running, Envision have had £2 off me just through streams.
Not bad, eh?
Sixth mention.
I was going to say that's it's going the right way for streaming services, because that's what Spotify should really do. But yeah, that's the kind of thing we need to see more of. It's never going to be a lucrative market for bands, but you know, when you think you used to, if you liked a song you heard on the radio, you'd just buy that whole album and listen to it.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be able to preview it. Like now people just know different songs from albums, and it's weird, but you know, if it sells gig tickets and all that kind of stuff, it helps, I guess, but yeah, it's very different now.
It's weird, isn't it? Because the albums or the singles, the tracks even, they're just sort of ambassadors for a live tour.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is a shame, really, because there's a whole thing that, I mean, I know I'm old and stuff, but, you know, when you used to go to a shop to buy a CD that had just come out and then reading the sleeve notes as you went home on the bus, having a look at it, oh, I can't wait to listen to it, and then getting it out and putting it in the CD player and playing it for the first. I used to listen to every track on the first listen, just to absorb the whole thing. And that's all gone now. That's it's not a thing anymore. CD sales are through the floor because there's no need for it anymore. But there is something nice, I think, that would be nice. I think, but then you've got vinyl. People are buying vinyl nowadays, aren't they, to get that same experience?
Yeah, that's come back. So maybe that is going to come back as a lucrative kind of antique market almost, or a cool collector's item. It's weird because every band releases vinyl nowadays, and the more funky coloured the better. Like every band releases vinyl.
Yeah, and plus, again, if you just want to support the band, then you're not going to listen to it. You haven't got a record player. Frame it, stick it on the wall. It's a nice piece, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
And then there's proof there, physical proof of your support, your love for this band, and the fact that you're never going to listen to that vinyl. You bought it, you can't listen to it. It's in a frame. But yeah, I just, it's a nice thing to do. It's not, I've got, support your band, support your favourite band, support your favourite artist, go and see them, buy the stuff. It should be a no-brainer, that really.
Yeah, it should be.
So, my Festpod favourites for this time around is a band called Ocean Tides. This is a band that got in touch with me. Ben from Ocean Tides, actually, got in touch with me on TikTok and said, hey, why don't you check out our band? To be honest, I get a lot of messages like that. My expectations are not necessarily very high for this sort of thing, but I thought, do you know what? I'm going to check them out. And I was very impressed. I'm going to give you, if I can get this to work, I'm going to give you a little bit of a look at their YouTube, and see if we can get it to. Shall we see if it plays? Shall we see if it plays? Play? Does it play? Oh, can you hear that?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
They're a Scottish band, quite new, I think, quite young guys.
I get very new metal vibes from the opening, but that's for a little teaser and a taster, Neil. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
I was very impressed. So give them a look. Ocean Tides. That's I think it's two separate words. Ocean Tides. Very good. They've got an EP out, so check it out. So that's about wraps it up, really. That's about all we've got time for. So thanks for listening to Festpod, episode 28. Before we go, Lee, what's going on with you? I know you've, in terms of social media, you have just quit Twitter, haven't you? So how do people find you if they want to follow you and your recommendations and everything?
My Instagram handle is at TE_LEIGH_vision. It's not a reference to Envisions before you start.
Oh, it should be though.
It's supposed to, it was sort of a cheesy sort of way to go television. So you can find me on Instagram like that. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use it that often. I use it that more for viewing videos. So if you've got anything cool...
Oh, you don't make the videos, but you watch, you scroll.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got anything, if you do end up following me and just sending me something cool, that's pretty sweet. But Instagram is where I usually do most of my my social media, I suppose you'd call it. Not on Twitter anymore.
No. Is that because of Elon?
Fuck Elon Musk, yes.
Okay, because it came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting, because you hadn't mentioned it, so I was.
No,
it was.
It literally just it was a very recent thing. Wasn't just the fact that he's worth absolute billions and could solve apparently solve world hunger, the click of his fingers. It's the whole having people pay for their verification, which is a very, very dangerous thing to do. I don't think Twitter's not that it ever has been a very safe space for expressing yourself, but it's just getting worse, and it's just something I don't want to be a part of.
It's a fair point. It's not getting better, is it?
No.
So, it's getting worse. So fair enough, Lee. I understand that. So if you want to follow Lee, Instagram, I guess, is the main place, isn't it? Really?
Yes.
Eamon, how do we? What's going on with you? What are you plugging?
So you could follow me on Twitter, and Instagram and TikTok and everywhere. So I'm Shorty E on everywhere. I do also, if you don't know, do live Twitch streams where we play a lot of horror games and people just scare the living shit out of me because apparently I'm quite jumpy. So that's just twitch.tv/ShortyETV. But yeah, people like scaring the crap out of me. I'm just going to say something out of context and you can make of it what you will, but basically people scare the shit out of me and I dance around with some cocks. And if you want to know what it means, just go there and find out. Like it's all I do is I play with cocks and get scared.
Was this the conversation you was having?
The cocks don't scare me.
Was this the conversation
We've got similar hobbies.
When I was filling about on my camera earlier? You two were talking about this. Is what you were talking about. The top of the show. It was all about.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I was asking him about his cocks.
Yeah. No. Obviously, yeah.
I was telling him how many I've got on the go.
Okay.
Lucky man.
That does sound like a very interesting Twitch stream. I think I will be looking to follow that.
Subscribe.
That does sound very funny.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Lee, is like the cock.
Exactly.
It's
the cocks.
There we go.
All about the cocks. Nothing about the jump scares. It's all about the cocks.
All about the cocks.
And if you want to follow me, I do you know what? I've just uniformed all of my different social media because someone tried to tag me in something, but then they tagged the wrong Neil Wilkinson, and it's just quite depressing now. So what I've done is I've made, because they don't know what's going on. The other person who's been wrongly tagged, they're like, "What the fuck's this all about?" So Neil is now Neill. Wilkinson, like the shops and the razors. And it's that on everything now. So if you type in Neil with 2 L's, Wilkinson, you will find me. I'm on pretty much everything. I'm going to tell this story now. I'm called Neil with 2 L's because the man with 1 L blocked me when I asked him to to give up his username so that I could have it. Because let's listen, right? He tweets once a year about football to 2 followers, So he doesn't use it. He doesn't need it. He's not using it. There was a long period when it was just Russian bots. And I'm thinking he doesn't want that. He's not bothered. So I shall ask him if I can have it. But then he's like, oh, no. Can't have it, blocks me. So there I am. I've had to adopt Neil with 2 L's. So there it is. It's that on everything now. I'm committed now. I was sort of hanging on to the 1 L, but now I've got to have 2 now. So that's what I'm on. So if you like what you've heard, please consider supporting Festpod on Patreon. Give us a review as well, wherever you found us. We are on the socials, on YouTube. Just search for Festpod wherever you do your searching, and Festpod will appear. You can follow us there. We've also got merch on sale too. Like I say, you can sew your Festpod patch onto your favourite black hat and have a Festpod hat. Why wouldn't you do that? Or there's mugs as well. There's mugs available to celebrate everything that we are. And also from now on, we're going to be more regular. You'll get a show from us every couple of weeks instead of once a month. It will be shorter, but it means that we'll be with you more often. So that's exciting news, isn't it? Patreon.com/Festpod. Etsy.com/Festpod, something like that. You can find us for all those other bits. So that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.
It's the cocks, all about the cocks.